Welcome, and thank you for being here today. If you're watching this, there's a good chance your body has been sending you signals. Fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, joint pain that just won't quit, brain fog, digestive issues, or labs ordered by your PCP that come back normal while you feel anything but. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. My name is Dr. John Wilkins, and together with Dr. Natalie Matt, we've spent years helping people find the answer that conventional medicine kept missing: chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation, it's silent, it's slow burning, and according to the World Health Organization, it is the single greatest threat to human health on the planet today. Now, in the next 30 minutes, we're going to show you exactly what chronic inflammation is, how it develops, what's fueling it in your body, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's get started. Before we begin, a few things. In this webinar, you may want to pause the video, take time to read a slide, digest the information provided, maybe take a few notes. You see, there are some science references and patient statements on the right side that you don't want to miss, and they may strike a chord with you. So that's fine. Also, save this video to your computer so that you can revisit it later. If that is a challenge, you can email us for a PDF of the slides. Don't worry, we'll send it to you. And then you'll have a great reference to reflect on to understand a little bit more. The amount of information in these slides is overwhelming. So don't worry, you'll have time to go back on it. So if that's enough, you got it? Great. Let's move on to the slide deck. The fact that you're taking the time out of your day to understand what's happening inside your body tells me one big thing about you. One, your health is important to you. And two, you are not willing to just accept feeling the way you have been feeling. It's not enough. And that's really the right way to think, because it's time for change. My name is Dr. Wilkins. I'm here today with Dr. Matt from Total Health Center. And over the next few minutes, we'll be walking through something that, once you understand it, you won't be able to unsee it. Something that connects the dots on symptoms that have probably been written off or dismissed or chalked up to just getting older, or maybe that's my new normal. Well, we don't accept that, and really neither should you. Because what we're talking about is chronic inflammation. And it might be the single most important thing you've never fully been told about your health. So let's start at the beginning. Before that, though, here's an important thing I need you to hear and really sit with. Chronic inflammatory diseases are the most significant cause of death in the world, not in a developing country, right here in the US of A. You see, the World Health Organization has ranked chronic inflammatory disease as the single greatest threat to human health globally. And the prevalence of it is expected to keep rising for the next 30 years. And that's right here in the US of A. So this is not a fringe idea. This is not a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory topic. This is real. Mainstream medical consensus knows this is a problem. It's just not in the media, and we don't talk about it enough. So now on to what is inflammation. Let's answer the most basic question first. There's something you already know about inflammation. You've had a bee sting or a bruise, and when that happened, your body responded. The area got red, warm, swollen, hurt a bit. Well, that was your immune system doing exactly what it's supposed to do: rushing to the site, neutralizing the threat, and beginning the healing process. That's called acute inflammation, short term, purposeful, protective. Your body's doing its job. It resolves. Once the threat is gone, the alarm shuts off and your body returns to normal. Now, chronic inflammation is a completely different animal. You see, with chronic inflammation, the alarm never shuts off. There's no bee sting. There's no bruise. But the immune system keeps firing week after week, month after month, sometimes for years. Why? Because there's a chronic attack on your body, deep in your body. Pathogens, bacteria, toxins, viruses, attacking your tissues, your gut, your pancreas, the joints, your liver, just a few places under attack. And often this starts at a low level in the background, sometimes with intermittent symptoms. And because it's running at a low level, you can't see it from the outside. Blood tests often come back normal. Your doctor says you're fine. But deep inside, there's something terribly wrong because you're not responding to any interventions and you don't feel well. You're not fine. So this is what I want you to understand. This is the missing piece. Chronic inflammation can be ongoing for years, crushing your health, but not killing you. This is what's behind so many of the health struggles that are difficult to explain. Could chronic inflammation be affecting you? Well, I'm going to go through a short list, and what I want you to do is notice, not analyze, just notice if any of these resonate with you. Sound familiar? Persistent fatigue, not regular tiredness. This is the fatigue where you sleep 8 hours and wake up just as drained as you were when you went to bed, day after day. Aches and joint pain, body soreness that won't go away, that dull grinding feeling that nobody seems to have an answer for. Over-the-counter pain meds don't touch it. Steroids don't touch it. It's still there. Brain fog. Maybe you're finding yourself in the middle of a sentence and losing a word, having trouble concentrating. Generally just feeling mentally slower than you used to. That's very concerning. Unexplained weight changes. Basically, it's that belly weight that just won't move, no matter what you do. You eat less, it doesn't move. You eat more, it increases. You exercise more, it doesn't change. Very common problem. Digestive issues, bloating, gas, an unpredictable gut that reacts to things regularly and sometimes unexpectedly, leaving you not sure about what to eat or when to eat. You might even feel like food is working against you. In these cases, often people have very irregular bowel habits. And finally, slow recovery, catching every bug that goes around, taking 2 weeks to get over something that used to take 2 days. If any of these sounded familiar or rung in your ears or resonated, then your body is sending you a signal worth listening to. And the fact that you're here right now watching this video tells me part of you already knows that. So how does chronic inflammation develop? One of the reasons chronic inflammation is so hard to pin down is that it's unpredictable. We don't know where it starts. Triggers could be different from person to person. And that is a very difficult thing for primary care doctors to understand, why it's often overlooked. You see, how does a body that was built by God and designed to heal end up stuck in a cycle of inflammation that it can't escape? So let's walk through the 4 steps, because understanding this is what makes everything else make sense. Step 1, a trigger appears. Something sends an alarm signal to your immune system. Maybe it's poor diet, high in processed food and seed oils. Maybe you were exposed to environmental toxins or pesticides, heavy metals, chemicals in your water. Maybe it's a hidden pathogen sitting quietly in your tissues. How about a tick bite with Lyme disease? Chronic stress, which is an obvious one, has a very real physical effect on your immune system. Something triggers a response. Step 2, your immune system fires back. It releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines to fight the threat. Now, this is healthy. This is normal in the short term. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. But you see, step 3, the fire doesn't go out. And this is where things go wrong. When the trigger doesn't resolve, when the poor diet continues, When the toxins keep accumulating, when the stress never lifts, when the pathogen exposure is chronic, the alarm stays on, like a car alarm that nobody turns off. And it's exhausting for your body and it's damaging. Now, step 4, the silent damage builds. Your organs start to suffer quietly. When they become disrupted, you have episodes and symptoms that happen more frequently. Blood vessels, the brain, the gut, mitochondria, the energy generators inside your cells, these things are all affected. Symptoms begin to appear, and by the time most people realize something is wrong, the process has been going on for years. Now, here's the most hopeful part of this 4-step chain. Every step in it can be interrupted with the right knowledge, the right protocol, and the right approach. One of the reasons chronic inflammation is so hard to pin down is that it doesn't just attack one thing, it attacks everything. So let's go through the systems it affects. And as I do, I want you to see if any of these connect to what you've been experiencing. First, your heart and circulation. Chronic inflammation damages the lining of your blood vessels. It promotes clot formation and raises your risk of heart attack and stroke. Heart disease is still the #1 cause of death in the United States, and inflammation is driving it. Your brain and mood. Inflammatory chemicals don't stay in the body. They cross into the brain. And when they do, they disrupt the neurotransmitters. That's the chemicals that your brain uses to communicate, that regulate mood, focus, and memory. This is why brain fog, anxiety, and depression are so commonly connected to chronic inflammatory conditions. It's not weakness, it's biology. Your blood and clotting. Chronic inflammation transforms the way blood clots. It makes them more resistant to dissolving. These microclots are increasingly linked to persistent fatigue, pain, and cognitive impairment. This is what a lot of primary care docs and specialists are seeing in what we now call long COVID. Your lungs. Chronic airway inflammation is the hallmark of asthma and COPD, conditions that affect tens of millions of Americans and dramatically reduce the quality of life. Let's talk about your gut. This one is foundational. Your gut contains 70% of your immune tissue. When it becomes inflamed and permeable, it's what's called leaky gut. Toxins and bacteria cross into your bloodstream, and that single event fuels inflammation system-wide. Fix the gut, and everything else starts to improve. And finally, your immune system overall. When inflammation runs chronically in your system, the immune response gets dysregulated. It starts attacking itself. This is the mechanism behind the 50 million Americans living with autoimmune conditions. You see, the fire in your body is being lit by the things you experience every day. You drink water, you breathe, you eat. All of those things are a part of it. So exactly what is adding fuel to your fire? Let's look at the 3 biggest categories, because this is where the real change begins, and you actually can start to understand root cause relations to chronic inflammation. First, diet and blood sugar. This is the most controllable factor for most people, and one of the most powerful. Refined flour, sugar, and seed oils, canola, soybean, and corn, directly activate inflammatory pathways in your cells. Every time blood sugar spikes from processed carbohydrates, your cells are pushed into a process called glycolysis. This produces lactic acid and depletes oxygen from your tissues. Over time, this creates an environment where inflammation thrives. The good news? This is one of the fastest things to change, and you have control over that. Remove the seed oils, cut the refined sugar, prioritize whole foods and quality protein, and within weeks, you are shifting your inflammatory load. Second, Environmental toxins. This one surprises people, but the research is very clear. Heavy metals like lead, mercury, arsenic accumulate in your tissues over time through contaminated water, air, certain foods, old paint, and everyday products. Also, pesticides and herbicides disrupt how your cells produce energy. Environmental chemicals in plastic containers, non-stick pans, and food packaging dysregulate your hormones and mitochondria. These are not fringe concerns. This is not a tinfoil hat moment. The EPA and NIH have extensively documented these mechanisms. The answer isn't to panic, it's to filter your water, eat organic where it matters, support your body's detox pathways. A very few simple steps to start with. Now, third, hidden pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungus, mold. These can hide deep in your tissues, evade your immune system while releasing toxins that chronically inflame the surrounding tissue. This is one of the reasons some people don't improve no matter what they do, because there's something hidden that has not been identified. Let me introduce you to something that most doctors never talk about and that we believe is central to understanding why you feel the way you do. Inside every single cell in your body, there are tiny structures called mitochondria. Their job is one of the most important jobs in biology. They take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert it into usable energy. A molecule called ATP. You might remember that from ninth grade biology. Think of them as the power plants of your cells. When they work well, you feel it. You have energy, your mind is clear, your body recovers, you feel resilient. When they're damaged, which is exactly what chronic inflammation does to them, everything changes. If you have low E, meaning low energy, you definitely have mitochondria that are not at 100%. Now let's talk about the vicious cycle. Inflammation damages mitochondria. Damaged mitochondria starts leaking dangerous byproducts called free radicals. Your immune system reads those free radicals as a danger signal, the same alarm it would send for a bacterial invasion. So it fires another wave of inflammation, which damages more mitochondria, which produces more free radicals, and the cycle repeats. You see, over time, there's never enough energy left to break it. This explains so much about the symptoms people describe and why they don't stop. Let's talk about them. Constant fatigue. Your cells literally cannot make enough energy or ATP to keep the battery charged. You're constantly feeling like you're out of gas. Brain fog and mood change. You see, your brain neurons are the most energy-hungry cells in your body. Most of the energy you consume in a day is consumed by your brain. So it's fitting that the brain would feel the power shortage first. Muscle weakness and pain, because your heart and skeletal muscle depends on a continuous supply of ATP to function. Poor healing, because repair requires energy, and when there's none left, recovery stalls. You see, research confirms that inflammatory proteins directly impair mitochondrial function, not just hypothetically, but measurably in heart and brain cells. This slide is one of the most important in this entire webinar. I want you to understand it fully because it explains a frustration that so many of our patients have lived with for years. Standard blood panels. The ones ordered at your annual physical are designed to detect acute problems. They look for active infections, they check organ function, they flag emergency situations, and they do that job fairly well. But they were not designed to detect low-grade chronic inflammation. And that's the kind that's quietly driving your symptoms. You see, if we look at that list on the left, routine blood work, C-reactive protein or CRP. This is a standard inflammation marker. And here's the problem. CRP spikes during an active infection or injury, and then returns to normal quickly, even if chronic inflammation is still present. So your doctor looks at your CRP, sees it's normal, and says, your inflammation is fine. Same story with sedimentation rate, ESR. So the white blood cell, same story with white blood cell count. These are great emergency tools, but they're poor detectors. They do not identify chronic inflammation. This is why you can feel terrible while your labs look normal and your doctor doesn't understand. The right tests simply weren't ordered. Now, what we use in our practice, there's 3 different tests. We use the MVX Plus test on a daily basis. It's both the simplest screen for chronic inflammation using NMR spectroscopy to assess markers that circulate at low levels, and it's also used as a tool to measure a person's progress as they are changing their health and their diet following protocoled supplement patterns. So it's a great tool. The lowest cost intervention we have and a tool we use the most. Next, Metabolomics Plus. This goes deeper. It looks at organic acids. That's about how your body makes energy. Amino acid sufficiency, the things you eat that your body can use for energy and protein synthesis. Fatty acid balance and the body's detox pathways. It tells us whether your cells are efficiently producing energy or stuck in metabolic dysfunction. And for people with complex or treatment-resistant illness, the worst of the worst, the Envirotox Burden Panel maps your full environmental toxin load and heavy metal load. Pesticides, PFAS, the solvents, mycotoxins that may be the hidden fuel feeding the fire, stuff that comes from your non-stick pans and the paper cups lined in plastic. All of that will show up in an Envirotox Burden Panel. Now let's talk solutions. The last slide was a little scary because we understand there's a lot of things that can make us sick. So about solutions, understanding the problem is only valuable if you know what to do about it. And from the start, the most immediate thing you can control starting today is what you eat. So here's our advice. Regardless of what you do after this webinar, follow these steps. Remove seed oils. Canola oil, soybean oil, and corn oil are polyunsaturated fats that are highly prone to oxidation. When they're heated and processed, they produce inflammatory compounds that your body struggles to process. Replace them with olive oil for cold dishes, ghee, coconut oil, or tallow for cooking. This is not a small change. This is a significant one. Cut the refined sugar. You know that. You don't need me to tell you it. Every time blood sugar spikes dramatically, your cells are pushed into a stress state. They shift to glycolysis, producing lactic acid, depleting oxygen, and creating an environment where inflammation flourishes. Reducing sugar is one of the most anti-inflammatory things you can do. Probably one of the more difficult things to do, prioritize quality protein. Red meat, organ meats, and eggs rich in heme, iron, B vitamins, amino acids, all of these feed your mitochondria and support repair mechanisms. These are not foods to be afraid of. These are foundational healing foods. One of the bigger challenges we have is trying to get enough quality protein in our diet every day. And finally, consider a low carbohydrate approach. Now, when you bring carbohydrates below 20 grams per day, your body shifts from burning sugar to burning fat, a process called ketosis. That is the pinnacle of a change in diet. Short term, you don't do this for life. You see, fat is a cleaner fuel. It produces fewer inflammatory byproducts. Ketones feed your brain. This improves brain energy, and as your fat stores are mobilized, they release toxins stored in them for elimination. If you can't move to a 20 carb or below ketosis diet, do the best you can. Every little bit helps. Now remember, inflammation is an upstream problem. What you put in your body is one of the most powerful upstream interventions that you have. Here's a handful of some natural compounds that help calm inflammation. You see, beyond food, there are things you can do on the front end to help minimize the effects of inflammation. These are research-based compounds. They're a part of some of our clinical protocols, and I'm going to briefly explain each one to you and how it works. So nattokinase. This is a fermented soy enzyme that has been studied for its ability to break down fibrin, the protein that forms stubborn blood clots. At a dose of 2000 FU or more, you will find that it has shown activity against inflammatory proteins and supports cardiovascular health. This is a very critical part of spike protein supplement protocols. Bromelain, derived from the stem of the pineapple plant, it's a natural enzyme with powerful anti-inflammatory properties. It supports fibrinolysis, breakdown of clots, and blocks inflammatory signaling pathways. Curcumin, this is the active compound in turmeric. Its most important action is inhibiting something called NFKB, the master genetic switch for inflammation inside of cells. Think of NFKB as the on button for inflammation, and curcumin turns it off. Nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin are a part of the spike protein protocol. Now, moving on, N-acetylcysteine, a must for anyone, no matter what you're doing in your life. This is a precursor to glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. It clears toxic cellular debris and disrupts inflammatory protein binding, one of the most important compounds for detoxification support. And it supports detoxification in the two systems of the liver, which is critical. Quercetin, found naturally in onions and apples, binds and inhibits inflammatory proteins. It works synergistically with vitamin C to reduce oxidative stress. And magnesium, something nearly everyone is deficient in. It's required for over 300 cellular reactions, including energy production, ATP, mitochondrial repair, and nervous system function. If you do nothing else, start with magnesium and make sure it is an organically bound magnesium product. These supplements listed are an emergency kit. It's a patch. They can help with the acute inflammation in the short term. They're not going to change root cause, but they might immediately help put the fire down a little bit. Diet recommendations and supplementing for chronic inflammation is not a one-size-fits-all. The protocols we build at Total Health Center are designed around your specific blood work, health history, clinical signs, because your inflammation has a unique signature. Now, lifestyle changes. This can be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to make it as easy as possible. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight, but there are 4 things that, when done consistently, can create compounding improvements in your inflammatory load. First, protect your sleep. During deep sleep, your brain runs a cleaning process. It literally flushes out inflammatory waste products. 7 to 9 hours is not a luxury. It's a biological requirement. Sleep is when healing happens. Second, move every day. 20 to 30 minutes of daily movement is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory signals you can send to your body. And it doesn't have to be intense. A walk counts. Movement regulates your immune response in ways no supplement can fully replicate. And as you move, think about your toxic burden. Filter your water. Choose organic produce for the high pesticides option. Swap plastic containers for glass. Use natural household cleaners. These are small choices compounded over time that will meaningfully reduce the load on your detox pathways. And third, manage chronic stress. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is pro-inflammatory. When it's chronically elevated, breath work, chiropractic care, time in nature, simple movement patterns, whatever helps you regulate your nervous system helps regulate your immune system. They are connected. Finally, consider tools like infrared sauna therapy. It promotes detox through sweating, supports mitochondrial function, has been shown to measurably reduce inflammatory markers. It's one of the most underused tools in functional wellness. You can also try water fasting, a 24, 48, or 72-hour water fast can cause autophagy, which is how the body cells start to clean themselves. Great tool. You can use red light therapy by itself without sauna. Also an excellent tool for supporting mitochondrial biogenesis. And a final part of this last concern is zone 2 aerobic exercise. This is going for a 30 to 45-minute walk at a fast pace 2 to 3 times a week. When done correctly, switches your body's utilization of energy from carbohydrates to fats. So you see, small, consistent changes can compound into profound transformation, especially when they're guided by the objective data that you get from the blood work and our consultation. So what do you do now? Your personal inflammation action plan. Well, let me give you 4 concrete steps. Step 1, know your numbers. You can't fix what you don't measure. Schedule your lab work panel. We'll offer 3 different levels of investigation depending on where you are and how deep you want to go. We'll walk you through which one's right for you. Step 2, clean up your plate. It's not an easy thing to think about. And we're not talking about next month. We're talking about this week. Start cutting things out one at a time, a day at a time, a week at a time. Remove the seed oils, cut the refined sugar, add quality protein. This single shift will move your inflammatory burden immediately. Step 3, support your cells at the foundation. Start with magnesium and B1. B1 is thiamine. These are safe, foundational supports for mitochondrial function and inflammation that almost everyone is deficient in. They cost almost nothing, and the impact is significant. Step 4, build your recovery habits. 7 or more hours of sleep, daily movement, even to 20-minute walk. Each of these steps reduce your cumulative inflammatory load a little every day, and those reductions add up. So you see, it's really not about being perfect, but it is about moving in the right direction with clear information guiding each step. Let's talk about the testing options specifically. 3 different levels of investigation. I would love you to walk away from this webinar with a clear next step. So we do offer 3 panels, and each one goes deeper into what's driving your inflammation. There's no wrong choice here. Every level gives you valuable information, and it's an excellent start. On the left, you'll see MVX Plus. We consider this a regular measurement tool for any patient on a program. You see, the MVX Plus uses NMR spectroscopy, the same imaging physics as an MRI. It measures GlyK, a chronic low-grade inflammation marker that standard labs don't touch. It gives you a metabolic vulnerability index. That's kind of like your health report card. It gives you a score for how healthy you are. It looks at small HDL particles, citrate, and branched chain amino acids, all markers that reflect your energy metabolism and inflammatory status. It's ideal for a first-time investigation as well as used for periodic check-ins. Second option is Metabolomics Plus. This is for going deeper. You may feel like you're persistent fatigue, brain fog, mood issues, gut dysfunction, poor recovery. You may feel like it's so serious you just want to know more and you want to understand more. Dive into some more root cause. You see, this panel maps your organic acids, amino acid levels, fatty acid balance, oxidative stress markers, B vitamin status, neurotransmitter precursors, and detox pathways. It gives us a comprehensive picture of how your cells are actually functioning. The third option is Envirotox Burden Panel. This is our most comprehensive investigation. If you suspect mold or chemical exposure, if you have treatment-resistant chronic illness, if you live or work in an environment with a no toxic burden, this panel will map your heavy metals, PFAS, That's forever chemicals. You're familiar with those, the same that are in the clothes you're wearing. Pesticides, solvents, mycotoxin, and give you a full detox capacity based off of what we find. This is where we find the hidden fuel that's been feeding the fire when nothing else has worked. Now, all three of those are available through us. What you'll do is you'll be getting an email. It's a little bit down the road to help you make a decision. And then at that point, we'll go through the process of getting that lab work sent to you, get it completed, and then we'll be on our way. Now, maybe you're not sure which one to do. Let's cut through some and move into some bullet points on each one of these, right? So which one is right? Every test uncovers different things. The MVX Plus. If you start with the MVX Plus, you're going to be tracking inflammatory markers and measurements of metabolism. It's a very simple and basic starting point. Metabolomics, more like a functional nutrition analysis. If you've been dealing with persistent fatigue and brain fog, this might be where you start. And more complex chronic illnesses or suspected toxic exposures fall right under the guides of envirotox burden. See, all three of these are valuable. Picking one of them is a starting point. At some point in any program, if you would like to see one of the other screens, we can order it for you. So don't feel like this is your last chance and you're missing out. Now, this is important. You have more power than you think. You might not believe that right now because you've been dealing with these symptoms, these issues, which is why you're with us for a while. Maybe spinning your wheels, not sure where to go. But I want you to understand one simple thing. Chronic inflammation is not a life sentence. It's a warning signal. Your body's not broken. It's just asking for help. And the beautiful thing about root cause medicine is that when you give it the right help, the right testing, the right nutrition, and the right targeted support, the body will heal. See it all the time. It can take time, but it will heal. We've had patients come in saying they've seen 5 different doctors, different specialists. We're told everything's normal. They leave with no answers from those doctors' offices. No answers to why they're sick, why they feel run down, why they're fatigued. Now, coming to visit with us and going through this process, you definitely understand there's more out there for you. There's ways for you to get help. So you do have more power over your health than you have been led to believe. And the first step toward exercising that power is understanding what's driving your symptoms. So address it now before it becomes a diagnosis. This is the most important thing you can do for your long-term health. Today is a great day to start getting better, and I think you're on that path. Now, ready to take control of your health? It's pretty simple. To the right, you see there's a little outline of 6 steps. Step 1, you'll be getting an email about selecting a blood work panel. There's no wrong selection. That's a start. We'll get the process going. We'll also send you questionnaires because we're going to understand your symptom profile a little bit more. Step 2, while waiting for your blood work kit or even the results, we'd encourage you to take time to review the education materials. So this video, the PDF of these slides, the PDF of systemic chronic inflammation, and anything else we sent you, review that as much as you can. Education is important. The more you know, the better you will be. Understanding your body is a part of the healing process. Step 3, complete the paperwork we send you before your consultation. This helps us make your time with us as productive as possible. Step 4, we'll be scheduling your consultation, sit down together and go through your blood work findings, clinical picture. That's how you feel. We'll assess your inflammatory load. We will build a personalized program grounded in your actual data. No guessing, no generic protocols, real answers for your unique problems. Step 5, after discussing all that, you'll be given an option. We have 3 programs that you can choose from at different levels of engagement and different levels of cost. We will go through that in the consultation. You'll be in a position to select any one of those and know that any selection you make will be the right one. Now, the sixth step is start making changes. We will be giving you dietary recommendations and a couple simple supplement recommendations right out of the gate. So you'll be able to get started. So we really are glad that you're here to watch us today. We look forward to being a part of your journey back to feeling healthy. Just know um, what you're going through, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that feel like you and have not got answers. And we're glad that we're going to be ones to help you. Thank you and take care. So here's where you are right now. You understand what chronic inflammation is. You know what's fueling it. And you know that the standard blood work panel ordered by your family doctor simply isn't enough to uncover it. Good news is we have 3 levels of blood work panels that are, each of which will identify key markers of chronic inflammation. The first level is called the MVX Plus. It gives you a metabolic and inflammatory marker score. It also identifies problems with metabolism and nutrition. Second, we have Metabolomics Plus. This is a deeper dive into the cellular energy pathways, nutrient status, and detox pathways, all of which are affected by chronic inflammation. And finally, the most comprehensive investigation we have is envirotox burden. This is especially for people that have or are suspect to toxic exposure, mold, heavy metals, and have been sick for years and years without an answer. The deepest dive is the envirotox burden panel. So of those 3 panels, determine which one suits your needs right now, how deep you want to go into the investigation, and be ready to make a decision in a following email. Take care.